everybody, welcome to English Story channel. I hope you're doing well as usual. The name of this story is Can Humans Change? Part 2. Franz took the hint, saluted Charlie and flew away. Charlie made it safely back to Britain. Most of his crew died, but Charlie and two of his crew survived. He reported what happened to his superiors, who were amazed but told him to keep his mouth shut. The last thing they wanted was to encourage their soldiers to have sympathy for the German side. Franz also kept his mouth shut about what he did. To show mercy to the enemy could have meant a death sentence for Franz. Charlie survived the war, returned home, and spent his life working for the USA government. He always wondered what happened to Franz. 30,000 USA men died in bombers during World War II, but thanks to the mysterious German pilot, 3 lives were spared that day. After retiring, Charlie began to search for Franz, but he had a little to go on. He eventually wrote to a German military newsletter which published his story and his search for Franz. Franz also survived the war and immigrated to Canada, where he became a successful businessman. Franz also always wondered what happened to the USA plane. In 1986, he saw his story in the German military newsletter and reached out to Charlie. Charlie and Franz became best friends. They spent 20 years traveling together and giving talks about this unlikely moment of mercy in the midst of war. Both died within months of each other in 2006, but their story carries a glimmer of hope that one day humans might be able to evolve beyond violence. Stanford professor Robert Sapolsky believes we are capable of becoming more peaceful. He points to his research with babbles as proof. He says babbles are violent, aggressive, and hierarchical. In other words, they are just like us. In fact, they share over 90% of their DNA with humans. Over 40 years ago, Robert started spending his summers in East Africa recording the behaviors of these animals. One troop of baboons became his favorite. They were very typical, he says. The females were very social and connected, and the males were highly violent and aggressive. They were Robert's first troop, and he was very attached to them. In the 1980s, Kenyan tourism was booming. Hotels were built, and tourists flocked into the country to enjoy the wildlife. These tourists created lots of waste. One hotel dug a hole and started dumping their garbage into it daily. This garbage was a treasure trove to the baboons. Soon a baboon troop started living in the trees above the garbage. This wasn't Robert's favorite troop. It was a different troop. Before lying, their whole lives changed. Instead of waking up at 6 a.m. to begin looking for food, they woke at 9 a.m. right before the hotel's tractor would arrive to dump its leftover food. The baboons were in baboon heaven, eating leftover cakes, hamburgers, and chicken drumsticks. It didn't take long for Robert's favorite troop of baboons to find out about the dump, and they wanted a piece of the pie. Every morning, the toughest males from Robert's troop would run to the dump and fight for a piece of the garbage. During these bloody daily battles, Robert's alpha male baboons would grab as many drumsticks as they could and run back to their troop. Then something horrific happened. The baboons who live at the dam started getting sick. Some of them had rotting hands and were walking on their elbows. Soon the sickness spread to Robert's troop of baboons as well. It turned out that the baboons had gotten sick from infected meat. They had tuberculosis, which is a slow-moving disease in humans but can kill a baboon in weeks. The garbage dumps baboons were devastated. In Robert's favorite baboon troop, only the most violent baboons who were aggressive enough to find their way into the enemy dam died. With the violent alpha males out of the picture, suddenly the culture of Robert's troop changed. Fighting decreased and grooming dramatically increased. One baboon picking fleas out of the fur of another was traditionally a type of affectionate grooming that females did for males. The males never did it to the females, but now they were. Even males were regularly grooming other males, which is unheard of. Robert said it was as unlikely as baboons growing wings. In 15 years of studying these animals, he had previously seen no more than 30 seconds of male-on-male grooming. Now it had become normal. Robert decided that the troop had changed so much that he could no longer use them for his research. 6 years later, he returned to his favorite troop and they were unchanged. He saw their new grooming customs and the decrease in violence and aggressiveness had continued. Then he noticed something that shocked him. There was only one old male left from 6 years ago. All the other males were new arrivals from the other Babel troops, and these new arrivals had learned from Robert's baboons how to live this new, more peaceful life. Some people say that humans are hardwired to be violent. It's in our genes, and it's inevitable that we will fight and go to war. Robert says that in one generation these baboons have completely transformed their culture, so we humans have no excuse. It can happen to us too. Okay guys, if you enjoyed this story, please don't forget click subscribe. See you in next story. Bye.